requiring more disclosures about ultimate beneficiaries of funds where the funds hold more than 50% in one stock or group, and from funds that that are close to border countries like China, etc. Latha has more details on that. Latha, over to you.
Well, just read the paper in great haste, but basically they want to know who is the final owner. If you remember, the entire Justice Sapre Committee, KV Kamath Committee, had concentrated a lot on whether the minimum public shareholding norm was breached in the Adani Hindenburg case. This looks very much like that because it's concentrating on minimum public shareholding. So what they're saying is Sebi wants the ultimate beneficial owner and also those with the ultimate economic interest. And I'll tell you why that sentence becomes important. In all those funds which are concentrated in one group or one group of stocks. Okay, so they go on to say that they have observed, Sebi has observed, that there are FPIs which hold a large, a huge percentage in just one company or one group. And when it is concentrated, it is maintained that way for over a long period. Those funds are not changing their holding. And therefore, there is a suspicion, a possibility that the promoters of the group and these funds are actually acting in concert, and therefore they are circumventing the minimum public shareholding norm. So it's not 76%, something more than that is held by the promoter. And therefore there is a risk of price manipulation because then the free float becomes very small. So it is to control that. Now, what Sebi says at the outset is they don't want to disturb the ease of doing business. So some of the obvious low-risk ones are being eliminated from this requirement. These are sovereign wealth funds, or, you know, central banks which have some funds, pension funds, or very large funds with very large retail ownership. So those are medium risk. You know, I would assume the Fidelities and all would come in that. Yeah, so those are all not going to fall in this category. Those will be, the others will all be considered high risk. And here, if any FPI has more than 50% of their AUM in one single group, will have to make complete disclosures about who the final beneficiary owners are in the fund. Now, they will get 6 months to bring down. If they cannot make those disclosures, they have to bring down their stake in that one group or one stock below 50% within 6 months. And if they don't do that, the fund has to wind up. Okay, failure to provide such additional disclosures will render the FPI registration itself invalid, and breaching this will, if you breach it briefly, you will get 6 months to bring it down. Now, separately on this press note 3, this is a government order that you cannot have if any funds, people have investors from the neighboring countries, basically China, Pakistan, then they have to come through the government. Now, there is no way to find out if any of the FPIs have that kind of investors. So over there, the rule is that any FPI with over 25,000 crore of AUM will need to make additional disclosures. They don't say how much, but additional disclosures just to find out whether they are from neighboring countries. Okay, and then they go on to say that these additional disclosures should be ownership, economic interest and control. And that paragraph of Sebi is fairly in detail. Until now, they are saying that PMLA rules, that is prevention of money laundering, require that when in a fund, one entity has more than 10%, then they have to tell who the beneficial owner is. But very often, as we found out in that Justice Sapre Committee paper, the final owner is someone who's an investment manager. So you don't know whom he is dictated by, who is the economic interest behind. So that also they have to reveal, not just a fund manager's name. In this process, they're probably trying to make it less opaque. Now, how many funds will be impacted? Not a great deal. And that is the most important sentence. Don't be under the impression that because of these additional disclosures, there will be a problem of investing in India. It's all of 2.6 lakh crore. Or 6% of the total FPI AUM in India. So it's not a big deal. And then there are lots of exceptions. You know, groups with only 25% in India, and they are largely foreign funds, they will not come under this. New ones, if you're suddenly you may have one stock where it's more than 50% because you've just started investing. So that it will not apply to very new funds. It'll apply only beyond 6 months. So those exceptions are also there. But it does look like this is answering the Justice Sapre Committee report on Hindenburg.
Okay, Latha, thanks a lot for that. Very helpful there. But